Shalom and welcome to this week's Hebrew class. And my name is Tom Howling, and I'm here today to bring you through chapter 1, verses 29 to 32. And let us now begin. And as I do each week, we also have the Nikud, which is translated as valve markings, with these great resources which will help you in your practice, and especially the dictionary that helps you work out what the true meanings of the root words are, because we don't have Blue Letter Bible in Hebrew, because it's always in Greek with the New Testament, or what we call the Brit Chadashah. So, and of course I've given you the chart to help you if you're new to the valve markings. So let us begin. And as you can see, we're in verse 29. It's represented by a kaf, which has a value of 20, and a tet, which has a value of 9. So we like to go through the letters just to make you very familiar with them. And we begin. Vav, Yod, He, Yod. Mem, Mem, Chet, Resh, Tav. Vav, Yod, Resh, Aleph. Yod, He, Vav, Chet. Nun, nun sofit, meaning a nun at the end of a word. Aleph, Tav, Yod, He, Vav, Shin, Ayin. Now we can read it. And we begin with Vehi, and we could translate that as, and it was. Mi macharat, from the morrow. And if we look down here, machar is a masculine noun meaning tomorrow. So that's our root. Vayar, and he saw. And of course the root of that is ra'ah, which is a kol verb, to see, to perceive. But I've also given you yareh, because you might be confused with this one, thinking it's yareh, its root is yareh. But the yod here is a prefix, it's not part of the root. So that's why I've given you this, because yareh is a kol verb. That is a root, to stand in awe, to respect, to show fear. But our root is actually ra'ah. And so he said, and he saw, and then it is Yahuchanan. Yahuchanan. Now that is translated in the modern Hebrew as Yochanan. It's like a shorter form, leaving off Yahu, which is the root of it is Yahuwah or Yahweh. And therefore we have Et Yahushua. And it also is translated as Yahusha. And it came to pass on the next day, John saw Yeshua, which is the more common translation of his name, even though its root goes all the way back to Yehoshua, which is Joshua. And so now it is time for us to then read it. And it is Vehi mi macharat vayar Yahuchanan et Yahushua. And again the translate, and it was from the morrow, and he saw Yahuchanan, Yahusha. And so we come to part B of 29, and we have a bet, an aleph, lamed, yod, vav. Vav, yod, aleph, mem, resh. Hey, nun, hey. Sin, because the dot's on that side, hey, aleph, lamed, hey, yod, mem sofit, hey, nun, sin, aleph. Now we can read it. Ba, and that can mean to come or coming. Elev, unto him or to him. Va yomar, and he said, and we know that we're talking about Yehuchanan, he's the one speaking. Hine, behold, say, which means the lamb, and I've added of. Ha Elohim, the Elohim, or just Elohim. Ha no say, the one bearing. So how do we get these? Let's look down here. Say is a masculine noun for lamb or kid. Nasa is a cold verb to bear, to carry, to lift up, to deliver, like a speech. And interesting, it even means to marry. And then we have nissa, which is a verb to be raised or lifted up. But as an adjective, it can mean exalted or lofty. Right, so we have the English. So Yehuchanan saw Yeshua coming to him and said, "Behold the Lamb of Elohim who bears." Right, so let us read that now. And it is Ba Eliv Vayomar Hine Say Ha Elohim Ha No Say. Coming to him, and he said, "Behold, the Lamb of the Elohim, the one bearing." And part C, and we have a chet, tet, aleph, tav. Hey, ayin, vav, lamed, mem safit. Mem at the end of a word, so it's different than a normal mem. And we read it. Chatat, chatat. The sins of. Now it's a construct form, meaning that it's connected with the next word, which is ha'olam, meaning the world, who bears the sin of the world. And I've given you chata, which is like your singular word. It's a verb to sin, to transgress, or to miss the mark. And then we have chatat, which is a feminine noun, and it can mean sin offering or an offense. And then we have olam, which is a masculine noun meaning world, universe, cosmos, or creation. So now let us read that again. And it is chatat, ha'olam, the sins of the world. And now we come to verse 30, represented with lamed, which has a value of 30. And then we have a zayin, hey, vav, aleph, shin, because the dot's on that side, resh, aleph, mem, resh, tav, yod, aleph, chet, resh, yod. And then we have yod, vet, aleph, yod, shin. And so we read it. Ze, meaning this, and I've added is. This is. Who, he. Shir, that. Marti, I said. And because it's a completed action, you could say I have said too. That's how they're often translated. I said, acharei, after me. Now, let's have a look at that. Achar as an adjective can actually mean another, a different, a second. And ichir is a PL verb to be late, to come later, to delay. And generally we'll see it in this form, acharei, as a prep meaning after. But what's happened is because they wanted the pronoun on the end, the AY pronoun rather than EY, because the AY means literally my or me. So it could be like my after, but that sounds a bit funny, so they say after me. And then we have yavo, shall come, or he shall come. Literally, when there's no pronoun, it's usually he, right? After me, he shall come, or shall come. Ish, meaning a man. So then we have, this is the one of whom I said, after me shall come a man. And so we can read that, which is Ze, who, Asher, Amar, Ti, Acharei, Yavo, Ish. This is he that I said, after me shall come a man. And then we have 30 part B, and we have an Aleph, a Shin, a Resh, a Hey, a Yod, a Hey, Lamed, Fe, Nun, Yod. It's a Fe because there's no dot in it, otherwise it'll be a Pei. And then we have Kaf, Yod, Kuf, Dalet, Mem, so fit, Mem at the end of a word, Lamed, Yod, Hey, Yod, Hey. And we read it. Shir. Who? Because, of course, a shir can mean that, who, which, whom. So, in context, who, haya, haya meaning to be or was, le fanei, before me. That's how it's normally translated, but literally it means to my face. Because we know that panei or panim means face. Or faces, right? So then panei should mean face. So, and then the ay again is my, so to my face. But it's mostly translated before me, so that we understand it. Key 4. Kodem li. Kodem li. Prior to me, or before me, right? So if we look down here, kodem, meaning pre, before, prior, or preceding. So you could say preceding to me as well, right? Prior to me. Haya, which is, remember that no pronoun, you can add a he to it. He was. Therefore we have, and then we have a man that was before me, for he was preceding me. Then I've also given you Rishon, actually, which is an adjective. So it's like similar to Kodem. Rishon means earliest, first, primary, initial. So it's not part of the words there, but it's just to give you another word that means very similar to Kodem, meaning before or prior, right? And then I've given you also Lefanei, which is, as a prep means before, in front of, former, preceding, or to the face of. Because the ending at the end there usually means of. Right, so we can read that as well. Asher, haya, lefanei, ki, kodem, li, haya. Who was before me, for prior to me he was. And now we come to 31a, which is represented with lamed and an aleph, right? So we have a 30 plus 1, so we're in 31. Va'ani, and I. Now, ani can mean I or I am, but in this context, I is better. And I, lo, not, ye, da, tiv. Now the importance here is that we've got two pronouns, ti meaning I, yada means to know or did know, and the vav is him. So not I did know, him. And then here we've got ki, im. Now, often those two come together to translate as but. So if we go down here, ki im is a conjunction, but for if or because if. So but suits it best. And then we've got ba, avur, for the sake. So if we look down there, ba, avur is a prep for the sake, on behalf of. It can also mean on account of. And an alternative word there would be le'ma'an, which also means for the sake or so that. And then we have yigale. Yigale. He, remember, no pronoun, you can add a he shall be revealed. And again, I've given you gila, pure verb, to reveal, to discover, to find out. That's your root word. right? And then I've given you yada, to know, to be aware, to recognize, and then I've also given you ak as being an alternative form of ki form for but, hardly, scarcely, right? So then, and then I've given you le'avur, which is the verb to pass over, to cross to. So I'm just giving you variations so that we understand that the word avur literally means to cross over. But when it's in this form, it means for the sake. All right, and so now we can read that, which is Va'ani lo yedativ ki im ba'avur yigale. And I didn't know him, but for the sake he shall be revealed. And now we're coming to part B of that. We have a Vet, Yod, Sin, Resh, Aleph, Lamed, Bet, Aleph, Tav, Yod, Aleph, Nun, Yod, Lamed, Tet, Bet, Lamed, Bet, Mem, Yod, Mem Sofit. Now let's read it. Ve Yisrael, meaning in Yisrael. Bati, I came, or I've come. Ani, I. Lit, bowl, to immerse. Now I've given you down here ba as to come, to enter, to approach, but we've also got te bowl, which is a verb meaning dipped. Therefore, lit bowl is a verb to dip, to immerse. So we have to immerse, ba mayim, in water. From the previous, he shall be revealed to Yisrael. Therefore, I have come to immerse in water. And so we read that. Ve Yisrael bati ani lit bal ba mayim. And the translation, in Israel I came, I to immerse in water. And so we come to 32, which is represented with a lamed and a vet. So we got 30 and 2. Then we have a vav, yod, I, and dalet. Yod, hey, vav, chet, nun, nun sofit. Vav, yod, aleph, mem, resh. Chet, zion, yod, tav, yod. Hey, resh, vav, chet. Kaf, dalet, mem, vav, tav. And so we read it. Va, ya, ad. Vaya'ad, and he testified. So how do we get testified out of that? Well, it comes from the root, which is he'id, which is the verb to witness, to testify. So id is like the root of witness or testify. So, of course, it's not in the same form as that. So we have to, but we know it's a verb because we have these prefixes which usually tell us it's a verb form. And he witnessed, or he testified. And who testified? Yahuchanan, which is also translated Yochanan. Vayomar, and he said, remembering, no pronoun, it's he. Chaziti, I beheld. We better have a look at that one. It has a root of chazah, which is a col verb to look at, to behold, to foresee. An alternative word could be ra'iti, which means I saw. And then we have ha-ruach, which is the ruach, which we know is meaning the spirit. And then we have kidmut. The kaf at the front is like, and then we have demut. If we look down there, it's a feminine noun for image, form, figure, personality, identity. So it is like the form Now, why is it of? Because it's a construct form. So therefore we can add of, meaning it's connected to the next word, which will come in a minute. And John bear record, saying, I beheld the Spirit in the likeness of. So let us quickly read that. Vaya ad Yahuchanan vayomar chaziti haruach kid mut. And just a point is that every time we see we've got like the dot there with the yod, it's like lengthening the I sound. So it's chazi, and same with this one, T. It's not a short sound, so it's a longer sound. And the translation, and he testified, Yochanan, and he said, I beheld the Ruach, the Spirit, like the form of. And so we come to 32b, and we have a Yod, Vav, Nun, He. Yod, Resh, Dalet, Tav. Mem, Nun, Sofit, He, Shin, Mem, Yod, Mem, Sofit, Vav, Tav, Nun, Chet, Ayin, Lamed, Yod, Vav. And we begin reading. Yonah, meaning a dove. Yoredet, descending. So it's like a participle form, but its root is yorad, a kol verb to descend, to go down, to decrease, to fall. And it is min from ha-shemayim, the heavens, from the heavens. Va-tanach, and she rested. Why did I say she? Because the tav is a feminine form. And if we look down there, the dictionary will tell you tanach is a verb to rest. It's actually a feminine form because the root of that word is nach, which is a kol verb to rest, to relax, which is also the root of Noach. That's how you spell Noach, but it's got different vowel marking. But it's literally Noach, which means to rest. And I gave you Tanakh as well, not to be confused. If you look at this one, this is Tanakh and this is Tanakh, which is often said the same. You'll hear people saying Tanakh, and it sounds the same as that one, but it's actually Tanakh with a calf sound. It's the noun for Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, meaning the Old Testament in modern terms. And so we can read it. Yonah, yoredet, min ha-shamayim, va-tanach, alayv. And of course the translation, a dove descending from the heavens, and she rested upon him. Remembering that even the word ruach is actually a feminine form of word. And that's why I added she in there, just so that we realize it's like a feminine form. And so we come now, we have finished the words. Now we're going to see what have we learnt, or what do we know. We know that the calf has a value of 20, and the tet has a value of 9. So we know we're in 29. Vayhi, and it was, mi macharat, from the morrow, meaning tomorrow, right? Vayar, and he saw, Yahuchanan, Yochanan, et grammar marker Yahushua, Yahusha. And it was from the morrow, and he saw Yahuchanan, grammar marker Yahushua, Ba, coming, or he was coming, right? Coming, Elev unto him, Vayomar, and he said, Hine, behold, say, meaning the lamb, and we could add of, Ha Elohim, the Elohim, Ha no say, The one bearing, the one carrying, that could be also included there. Coming to him, and he said, that's of course Yehochanan saying it, behold the Lamb of the Elohim, the one bearing chatat, the sins, ha'olam, of the world. So when it's a construct form, you can always add of after it, the sins of the world. The sins of the world. And we've just done 29, A, B, and C. And now we come to the next one. See, I'm not giving you the verses because I want you to think about the value of the letter. And we know it's lamed. And the lamed has a value of 30. And we have ze, this, or this is, who, he, asher, that, amarti, I said, acharei, after me, yavo, he shall come, ish, a man. So it's translated, this is he that I said, after me shall come a man. Asher, that haya was, lefanei, before me, or to my face, ki, for, kodem li, meaning before or prior to me. Haya, he was. Who was before me, for prior to me, and it's often translated before me. But it's literal, lamed is to me, right? So prior to me, haya, he was. And then we have a lamed value of 30 and a left value of 1. We're in 31. Ba'ani, and I, lo not yedativ. I did know him. Ki im, but ba'avur, which means but for the sake, on an account, on the account, for the sake, yigale, he shall be revealed. And I did know him, but for the sake, he shall be revealed. And then we look and say, yes, we're in 30 A and B and 31 A. Because we know lamed is 30 and the left is 1. And so we now turn the page. And we have, so we're in part B of that one. Ve Yisrael, in Yisrael, to be revealed in Yisrael. But T, I have come, or I came. Ani I, lit bol, meaning to immerse, or for immersing, you could say, because it's like it's a participle. You could say, I am, so you could say here, I am, or I for immersing, or to immerse, bamayim, in water. In Yisrael I came, I to immerse in water. And we have lamed 30, ve 2, we're in 32. Vaya'at, and he testified. Yehochanan, Vayomar, and he said, Chaziti, I beheld. Ha-ruach, meaning the spirit. Kidmut, like the form of, being a construct form. And he testified, Yehochanan, and he said, I beheld the ruach, the spirit, like the form of, and we have Yonah, meaning a dove, Yoredet, descending, min from Hashemayim, the heavens, Ve Tanach, and she rested, Elev, upon him. a dove descending from the heavens, and she rested upon him. And of course, that gives us 31b and 32a and b. And then finally we come to the vowel markings. So important that we remember these, that a cholam, giving you that O sound, and we have a shiva, which breaks up the word into its syllables, and it can have an E sound, but it can also not have one. So we have segol, short E, zere, longer E, patak, short A, kamatz, longer A, shuruk, the U sound, kubutz, a little bit longer U sound, kataf segol, a combination there, and it follows the shiva with a short E sound, and then we have chirik, which is the I sound, kataf patak, which follows the shiva, and it's a short A sound, and then we have kataf kamatz, which is a longer A sound after the shiva. And so now we see again the resources, and I do hope you use them, and of course the numbering system. Very important that we recognize them, and so we will go through them. Aleph is 1, Vet is 2, Gimel is 3, Dalet is 4, Hey is 5, Vav is 6, Zayin is 7, Chet is 8, Tet is 9, Yod is 10, Kaf is 20, Lamed is 30, Mem is 40, Nun is 50, Samek is 60, Ayin is 70, Pei is 80, Zadeh is 90, Kuf is 100, Resh is 200, Shin is 300, and Tav is 400. It's just to make us familiar with the values of the letters. And we do pray that you are enjoying these lessons and find them able to be followed, because we're trying to make it as best as we can. And we just want to wish you a Shavua Tov, a great 7 or a good week in Yeshua HaMashiach, our Messiah and our King. May you rejoice in him. Amen. And we hope to see you again.